Yes, I must, I will not agree with you. I think Eve can, I cannot.
Come on.
Eve is fantastic. I think he's the main reason that preservation rhinoplasty caught.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Rhinoplasty podcast with me, Dr. Cameron McIntosh. I'm quite excited because there are 8 episodes in this season where I'm interviewing each of the 8 invited faculty members for the World Rhinoplasty Week. And on today's show, kicking it off all the way from Brazil in South America, representing the entire continent, is Ishida. Dr. Ishida, welcome. It's so nice to chat to you again.
It's so nice to be here, Cameron. So nice to talk to you again, and looking forward to November.
Yeah, I mean, it's just around the corner. And I mean, we've been talking about this for more than a year now, and we have weeks left. So, guys, the whole point of these 8 weeks is to tell you a little bit more about this amazing event, but also just to catch up with our continental representatives and find out how they're doing, what's the latest in their lives with rhinoplasty, etc. I know, Ishida, you've told me you've just finished a facelift, and now you've jumped up onto this podcast. So how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. A lot of rhinoplasties, and I do mostly facelifts and rhinoplasty here in Brazil. Some weeks we had 2 Italian colleagues visiting today and last week, and they were not able to see a rhinoplasty. They saw only facelifts. They came to see rhinoplasty, but this happens in Brazil. We don't have always the same surgery. And we're doing mostly difficult cases because as we get older, I think the colleagues, the plastic surgeons, they refer us to do those difficult rhinoplasty. And I think we will have a lot of nice things to show you in November on the live surgery or in the cadaver dissection. We have some brand new things we are doing on the tip and on the dorsal. I think it will be very interesting.
So, Ishida, if I've got 2 kind of areas to talk about. The one is why somebody should come to this event, but also why you want to come to this event. So when I invited you to represent South America and say, come and have this adventure in Africa, I mean, you're a professor, you're working very hard. What made you want to take that time off and come and teach people and enjoy South Africa?
Actually, several reasons. The first one and the main reason is because of you, Cameron. I like you very much. I think you're a very fantastic guy and a fantastic name in rhinoplasty. You're a very energetic guy. When I first met you, I got really impressed and how you were conducting the surgeries. You are on the operating rooms talking to the audience of the surgeries. It was really fantastic. Even though your English is horrible to understand, but even though it was fantastic, so this guy is fantastic because he said he has a very deep understanding of rhinoplasty. I value this so much. South Africa is a wonderful country. I've been there before. Was one of the most fantastic trips I have ever made. I went to shark photography, tiger sharks. Was like the most amazing times of my life. This is just such a nice country, and it will be a great pleasure to be there again. And also for the meeting, I think the meeting you are putting together is very, very interesting because we will be able to show what we are doing, and the colleagues who are going to attend the meeting will see what we are doing all over the world. This is very important. Not because you need to do the same as we do, but it's in today's world, to have an idea what everyone else is doing is such a great value. And the world of rhinoplasty now, everybody has become friends. We must thank the European guys that put everybody all together. It was great. And this kind of meeting when you can do live surgery, cadaver dissection, and you can see the people and talk to them. And why did you do this afterwards? I think, why did you do this? Why did you choose to cut here or cut there? And this can improve one's practice a lot. I think it's very, very valuable. If I weren't coming to as a faculty, I most probably would come as to attend this meeting, of course.
Yeah. No, but Ishida, I think like to explain to the people listening as well, guys, it's the the World Rhinoplasty Week, but we kick off with a 72 nation trying to outclass each other webinar, pre-record webinar. So every country of these 72 countries has 18 minutes. And then what happens is our invited faculty sit in a panel and we discuss each 18 minutes. And I think it's going to be so fascinating hearing input from around the globe. But then after that, we're going to do cadaver dissection for a day. And what I'm especially excited about is I've managed to source a patient representing that continent for the continental representatives to operate on. So we've got a lady from Argentina who's going to be operated by yourself. And I think for people to see you operating and how your techniques are different to perhaps what Hossam Foda will be doing on an African nose. And then afterwards, obviously, we're going to go and have a safari. But to have this deep immersion of rhinoplasty for a few days, I think is going to be something quite spectacular.
Yes, I know people who are stocking up coffee because they want to see all the 24-hour thing. It won't be possible. My fellow asked me if it will be recorded because she won't be able to see all the way.
No, it will be recorded, and the judges are the editors of the top journals in the world. So it's really high class. I mean, we've put out what the judging criteria, etc. So Ishida, I want to for a second just ask you. You said you're going to be teaching about new tip and dorsum techniques. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit more about that already?
Oh, yes. It's a new trend that we are actually, it's not only me. We've been, this is such an important thing because when one subject is being studied separately by several groups, it must be by some reason. You see that I've been studying for like 4 years, 3.5 years, the intercrural ligaments to reconstruct it. And in my study, I have found out that if I do it correctly, would not have the necessity to use the septoextension grafts anymore. So I ended up never doing septoextension grafts anymore because of doing this intercrural ligament reconstruction. Then comes Jose Carlos Neves that says that this ligament does not exist, but he does reparation of this ligament in another way. I do it with repairing the cartilage, and he does repairing the soft tissues. That is very, very, very interesting. And then and it aims exactly the same objectives to improve the tip projection. And the problem we have now is that we achieve a very powerful tip projection, even more powerful than we wish. We always need to deproject the tip, not project the tip anymore, because not for this ligament alone, but for all the maneuvers we've been doing this last years. Then came Thiago Lírio and Miguel Ferreira, and they did this cross flap on the supratip region that is nothing else than reconstructing the supra intercrural ligament again, but with a flap of the portion that you would or slide in, turn in, or resect of the alar cartilage. That's very, very interesting also. And there is a another colleague from Egypt that's doing another way to reconstruct that's very interesting, but he's just sent it to publication, and it's his work. I'm not allowed to talk about. I hope it will be accepted before I go to in November to South Africa. Then I can tell all the ways in the cadaver and show. It's very important, and it's very interesting because by doing this kind of reconstruction, the need to do a septal extension graft in our hands, it ended. No more septal extension grafts. Anyway, even if you continue to do septal extension graft, the Agulito, even doing the cross flap, he does the septal extension graft. You do for another reasons, to place the tip exactly at the rotation and projection. He wants, not because you need it to support the tip. You do it for other reasons. It's has its value. It's very important also. In secondary, I do this, but might be a very, very interesting topic to discuss. And I will take the opportunity that we will be with you, all of you. We do it in cadaver. If you can discuss it online or live during the meeting, will be very interesting.
No, we definitely will, because where I'm at my stage of my career, I think the most difficult thing for me in rhinoplasty is to be able to have a beautiful tip on a nose. And I think sometimes it becomes too complicated. People can talk and talk and talk. And yet, where do you get that balance between becoming so analytical about what a perfect tip is and actually doing it? It's difficult to sometimes get that right, eh?
Oh yes, this is the main point. We have a lot of arguing here between us here in Brazil, because some people like that very, very thin, pointy tip. I like it round. I like it very natural. My patients like it very natural. So most of the time, as we have this powerful tools nowadays, I have this very delicate tip and need to make it a little bit more rounder after the surgery. So we have the opposite problem that we had before. And now we have a lot of control. I think the tip surgery has developed so much, I think, thanks to Bares, Gruber, and these guys, Milos, all working together. That's the power of these meetings. When we meet everybody all together, we sit. I was commenting that we had in Nice, you are always with us together, that the most powerful round table in Nice is the breakfast in Negresco Hotel. We sit everybody there. We are such boring people because we talk about our latest developments. And I think it's the most scientific rhinoplasty meeting round table we have is the breakfast. And we have the chance to do this in South Africa also, because everybody will be there also in the same hotel and same safari. I think the topics in the safari will be a little bit boring about rhinoplasty sometimes also.
No, so. But the cool thing about it is if people do come to South Africa, they're sitting on the safari, they can sit around and talk. It's going to be amazing. But so coming back to this, I'm fascinated to actually see what you guys are going to do, because I think there's quite a lot of similarities between Brazil and South Africa in that we've got a wide range of noses, and many of our noses are thick skin, heavy noses. And to hear you say that you've been able to get to the point where you might not need to use a septal extension graft is kind of revolutionary for me. I'm like, how on earth?
Yes. No, I was very afraid to give up, especially in thick patients, because we do a lot of septal extension graft in Japanese nose, because we have a very thick skin, very, very fragile cartilages, and in the mulatto, that is white with black miscegenation, that we have almost half of Brazilian population is It's like this. And we always do this septal extension graft in this kind of patient. I'm sorry, there's a noise here. Is it disturbing the noise in
we'll
my?
Be able to, I can also hear something.
No, it's here. It's here. Yes, they are breaking something in the next. And I was very afraid to give up the septal extension graft. And it took me a while to be brave enough to do this, but now it's very rare for doing a septal extension. Even sometimes I do in very difficult primary cases, I need to take a costal cartilage, and I don't use it as septal extension graft. I use it just to take a strut graft instead of the septal extension graft, because it will give me enough support. I don't know with this very, very thick negroid noses how it will work. Because in Brazil, we have like this miscegenation. The skin is thick, it's heavy, but it is elastic. I think when you got in South Africa, the Zulu people, they thick, but it's heavy, but it's less elastic than the skin we have here. I don't know if I'm correct, Kema. So I don't know in this kind of skin how it works.
Well, I mean, that's the discussion we're going to have. We've queued up a really interesting case for Hossam Foda of a typical African lady's nose who needs to be augmented. So it's going to be very interesting to talk about that. So tell me, if I may ask a little bit about the evolution that's been happening in dorsal surgery.
Oh, we have doing some very interesting developments in my cartilaginous push down that was described by my father in 1999. We did this bony cap in 2020. Miguel changed this from triangular to rectangular, and now what we are having now, it's like a mix between Miguel's rectangular with mine that's triangular, but not in despite that shape and in the extension. We are trying to do it a little bit longer, the bony cap, to force it to be on green stick on the near the radix. Then we have almost all the advantages of the foundation techniques on the surface techniques. The surface techniques has the advantage over the foundation techniques that we can treat a broader array of patients. We can treat very large dorsals, wide, broad, very complex nasal deviations. This is a topic I want to speak if I have the chance in South Africa about very complex, but really complex. Not that there's no that's just like this. The nose that are very S-shaped, deformed, to be treated with cartilaginous push down. And it's very interesting because if you see myself in 4-5 years ago, I will show cases that I surely would do an extracorporeal septoplasty, and surgery that I am very fond of.
You would have done that, but now you don't do that anymore.
No, yes. I don't do. I can treat almost all cases of very complex septal deviation without the need to take the cartilaginous septums out and do it on the table. And it's a very turning point because it would take, if you take the cartilage out, you need to put it back again and fix it again. And it's always a hassle. Don't take me wrong. I do half of my surgeries are structural rhinoplasty because I do on secondary patients. So I have a very good experience in structural rhinoplasty. But anyway, like it's like hell. And if you do something wrong, you need to revise it. You need to do everything all again. I did a secondary revision on my own patient this last month, and I need to take the second rib off and do everything all over again. Like it's completely a huge surgery when compared to the secondaries of the preservation rhinoplasty, like 10 minutes. I did actually this month. I did 2 revisions of a preservation rhinoplasty and 1 revision of my cases of a secondary that was a structural rhinoplasty. Like the revision of the preservation was 10 to 15 minutes each, was very, very fast. And the revision of the secondary was like 2 hours and a half, was completely.
But Ishida, in the same breath, like this is you've been doing this thing for like 30 years, 25, 30 years, you experienced. And there's people who are going to come and listen and learn at World Rhinoplasty Week. I think the biggest mistake to make is to think preservation rhinoplasty is easy. I think it's so hard to do it. I mean, I did a letdown this afternoon in theatre. I was very happy with the outcome, but there's a few minutes where I stop talking and I'm just absolutely concentrating really hard in what I'm doing, and that's been operating for many years. So I think the nice thing with the specific people I invited to come and be the continent representatives is your guys' humility and your teaching way, because sometimes people can try and teach too advanced techniques and get lost. But I think what I love about like you and Eve and all these guys is you can teach the advanced techniques, but you've got the ability to explain them, these complex like ideas in a simple way.
Yes, I must. I will not agree with you. I think Eve can. I cannot.
Come on.
Eve is fantastic. I think he's the main reason that preservation rhinoplasty caught. Because I've been talking about preservation rhinoplasty for about almost 30 years, and the people would in Brazil they would compliment me on my lectures. They would invite me again, but almost nobody would do the surgery. And the reason I think the preservation rhinoplasty is a little bit tougher is that you must have a different knowledge of the anatomy. It's different from we find in the textbooks, and it's written now. Peter Pagliazzi has written in the preservation rhinoplasty book and the publications. But they're very distributed now. I think this knowledge is on reach of everyone now. And I don't think everyone needs to do right away preservation rhinoplasty. I think it's like baby steps. You do I preserve this ligament, and okay, it's nice. And then I preserve something else, and then some more brave people would like to do this jump to try to preserve the dorsal. I think there's a lot of people doing this right now. So you invite a colleague that already does it and do it together. Like after 1-2 cases, they will jump the bridge and start doing it. But by all means, it's very, very, I think it's much more difficult than to teach structural rhinoplasty or something else. And I think cartilaginous pushdown is it's harder than foundation techniques. I found that Aaron and even Eve, Barry's also says that maybe they should start with cartilaginous pushdown. I think they're right the opposite. I think the cartilaginous pushdown is the most difficult one to master, because everything is apart and you need to be careful because there are some anatomic landmarks that you should not damage. And there are these landmarks that we usually damage on purpose on regular rhinoplasty. So that's very important. You should know everything, all the steps and where not to damage. Okay, if not, baby steps. You do one step at a time, and I think a lot of people will be doing this in a couple of years as it is going now. Yes. It's very interesting, very beautiful to see. And me too, I'm learning a lot. I go to these meetings and I learn a lot of new techniques. I have the opportunity to have a work at the university. I asked the patient if he allows me to do, I saw this technique in Berlin, France, or may I try it in you, explain, and they are very nice. I mean, yes, you can try. If it doesn't work, I will do revision and correct. They don't pay for the surgery, but they allow us to try experiments, what our colleagues have been doing. It's very interesting. Very.
Sure. Well, Ishida, I must say, I, for one, am very excited for November. Guys, if you have not yet registered and you haven't bought your tickets to come to South Africa, we literally are doing everything. We're doing 24 hours of lectures, we're doing cadaver dissections, we're doing live surgeries, and then just before we go off on the safari, there's actually a whole session on skin management and rhinoplasty, and Isolda and Dario are heading that up. I'll be interviewing them as well, so we're looking forward to that. And Ishida, thank you so much for taking time out to chat. And I'm also looking forward to seeing you in Brazil next year at the Global Masters meeting.
Oh, yes. Everybody is invited. I think the two meetings will be very important, very, very interesting, because it's the chance you get to meet the people who does that thing you read in the articles, and you go and ask him, oh, why you're doing this? Cameron, why do you cut here? And it's very, very... it makes your rhinoplasty practice grows a lot when you do this, because you understand why did that guy you're doing the technique is doing such a maneuver or something like that. It's very, very important.
Awesome, Mel. Ishida, on behalf of all the listeners around the world, thank you, and we are looking forward to seeing you in South Africa in November.
Yes, I hope to see you all in November and to meet there, and after go to the safari. See you then.
Yeah. For those of you who are only listening to this on a podcast platform, please try and reach out and get onto YouTube, because on our YouTube channel, we've got some really cool clips where I interview the guests.